I'm Naqsh. I'm studying the evolution of radio galaxies.
Hi everyone, welcome to this interview with Naqsh, who's from Pakistan, and they came here to work with us at Nicolaus Copernicus University in the PandA program, which stands for Physics and Astronomy Masters. Hi. Welcome here. My first question to you is, what made you choose the PandA program at Nicolaus Copernicus University?
It was actually a series of coincidences. So I had been applying to a lot of places and the name PandA stuck out to me. So I came back to it a few times. And when I was looking at their research opportunities, I saw the name of my current supervisor, which was interesting because I had read a paper of hers in high school.
Wow. You were reading research papers in high school?
Struggling to, but yes. So I had remembered the name from there, and she was actually the reason that I wanted to go into extragalactic astronomy in the first place. So I was like, how could I not apply? And then I joined and I absolutely loved it.
Excellent. Love it. So how has studying at NCU helped you grow academically and professionally so far?
I think it's given me a sense of scale, let's say. Because I think it's very easy to think that you should know everything, and being surrounded by people who academically and professionally will let you know that I don't know this, you might have to ask someone else. It kind of lets you know that it's okay to not know everything and that science is about community and collaboration. So having that is really nice.
Yeah,
it's been really helpful.
That's so true. And what do you enjoy the most about living in Toruń? Any favorite place or activities?
I'm a very introverted and inside person. So I've really enjoyed that the way that the city is set up is I live more on the outside. So I can stay away from all like the hustling and bustling of Old Town. But if I wasn't an indoor person, I could also move to a different dorm that is more in the center and closer to everything. So I've enjoyed that. I really like the event calendar that Torun has. And I think the smallest number of events I've seen in the city on any given day is 4.
Wow, yeah.
So always something happening.
Always something happening.
And there's a way to get away from it and a way to get closer to it. I've enjoyed that.
Tell us more about the dormitories. So do you like the dormitories here, or what's your experience?
So the dormitories are really nice. It was my first time living in a dorm, and I think I got very lucky because I had such a lovely flatmate who I'm still friends with like 3 years later, even though we don't live together anymore. And the space, of course, I think if you're not used to living in a dorm, can feel small, but once you're in it, it really opens up. And it's been great. I enjoy like making friends with the people on my floor.
Oh, so nice. So how many friends did you make of international background since you're here?
A few hundred.
A few hundred?
It's been really, the international community here is so tightly knit. I think most of my friends are international, but that's just because we have such a good community. I met most of them before I even arrived. Wow. Because there's something really nice that's been happening in the university where international students have been mapped to existing students so that you can meet and already know someone when you're
like
here.
A mentorship.
Yeah. So I also volunteered to do that. So I helped a lot of the incoming batch in coming in. So it's been really nice because you share a country, you share a culture, and then by extension, you kind of get friends all around the continent that you are from.
Of course,
so it's been really nice.
Yeah, that's so great. Can you share an exciting project or research that you've been involved in during your studies or your PhD? Because you're doing a PhD now, so you finished the master's and now you're doing a PhD. So can you share an exciting research project?
Yeah, so I think in my master's was like the one that I've completed, so I think that was pretty exciting.
What was it about?
We had a sample of 60 quasars. So they had just been observed in the most recent survey from the Very Large Array. So they had been discovered, I think they went from being non-existent in the 90s to suddenly appearing in the night sky in 2017, and we have data from them till about 2023. Wow. So I got to like pull information on these unheard of, unseen galaxies and compile it and like test the hypothesis of what kind of radiation would be coming from them. And Of course, I didn't get something super conclusive, but something that's hinting in the right direction, and that's where I'm continuing in my PhD.
Yeah, that's so great.
So it's really cool.
That's really impressive what you're doing. So what is your favorite thing about the research environment at the NCU?
I really like that it will sound odd, but I've never been set up to fail.
What do you mean by that?
It's that sometimes I've seen in other places that either the student does it or it doesn't get done and you miss out on an opportunity. So my supervisor has never put me in that position. It has always been that she will tell me, here's the new skill that we are learning. It is going to be, we're writing this proposal, writing this grant. Here's my expectation of you. And I will do my best, but she will also complete the same task so that at the end we can compare, and if I've fallen short in any capacity, she will give me an abundance of resources so that I can learn, but she will help fill in that gap so that that opportunity doesn't get missed.
So it's like a collaboration.
So I've always had like a lot of support to make sure that if I'm falling short, since I'm so new to this, that it doesn't affect my ability to experience the opportunities that are out there.
Right. About opportunities, have you had any opportunities to collaborate with international researchers or institutions?
Yes. So the recent work that I'm doing requires us to have some values of redshift that we want from optical surveys. Yep. Problem is that I do radio astronomy, my supervisor does radio astronomy. We are completely out of our depth in optical data. So we've been working with some of our collaborators in the US.
The US.
Yeah, so they're using their own expertise in optical work to get that redshift data for us, and that's going to be really pivotal in us understanding the luminosities and the distances that these objects are at.
Right. Do you expect to go to the US during your PhD at some point?
I really hope so, yes.
Yeah?
I hope to be going to the Netherlands this September, and then to the US, and there's another program that might be happening in South Africa.
Ooh, that's
so
exciting.
Lots of things to look forward to. I'm really excited about it.
Cool. What challenges have you faced during your PhD or your master's journey, and what support did you get to overcome them?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I think about the challenges that I've had, I think they've mostly come from inexperience. I think that there's an expectation, especially of people who are not men in science, to kind of always have to prove and stand above and beyond in order to be treated as fairly.
I can sympathize with that very much.
So being able to have a supervisor who is a female role model, who is excellent in her field, and having her set the expectation of realistic performance instead of me building it up in my head that if I am not perfect, I am falling behind.
Right.
So that overcoming that has been tricky, and it's been really nice to have her support in making sure that I'm not overstretching to reach that goal.
Reach an impossible goal, because those goals are impossible to reach.
And we're expected to reach them. So it's nice to have someone say, don't do that, come back down. You're a student, this is what you are able to do right now, and we're gonna build on what we have.
Yeah, and you're doing great, you're doing fine.
Thank you.
So why would you recommend the PandA program to other institutional students?
Oh, I think there's maybe a tendency, because I know I had this tendency, that after your bachelor's you want to get specific, and you want to get specific fast. So I think it might be tempting for people to pick either physics or astronomy, but the reason that I would recommend the PandA program above a program like that is that, especially in astronomy, we're dealing with something that's so intangible. There's nothing that you can hold and concretely understand, but a class like electrodynamics and field theory, for example, is a class that is mostly physics. We did very little on astronomy, but having that building block allowed me to better understand things like magnetohydrodynamics. Of course. Right? So it felt like learning to add before you learn to multiply.
Yeah, so basically everything is interconnected.
That transition became so much smoother, and electrodynamics is so much more concrete than I would say magnetohydrodynamics. So that was a really nice bridge. And I think without that, astronomy can feel really up in the air.
Right, so you're saying that the physics is a good support to do astronomy.
It's a really good grounding thing so that you have real experience with something that you can apply to something that you will never see or hold or touch.
Sure, that's so true. So how do you think your experience at NCU will impact your future career?
I think definitely positively.
Positively, yeah.
I mentioned it before, but having female role models and other professors here, especially male professors, who are working to make the environment more inclusive and really standing up for things like the rights of students, how do we keep them in the forefront, how do we make sure that our work is reproducible and fair and up to the standards of the scientific community. Having people model that behavior in a professional environment, I think, is just as valuable as all of the support I'm getting in learning the technical side of things, like how do you fill in a proposal, how do you conduct research.
Right.
So I think that's something I'm looking forward to implementing as I'm moving further along.
Awesome. Because I feel we are humans, not robots, and so we need the support of a human environment.
We can't be excluding people
Yes,
and expecting
course,
science to get better.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And if you could give one piece of advice to new students joining the program, what would it be?
It would definitely be to take advantage of the opportunities that you get to build community.
Okay.
Because I think, especially for international students coming in, you're always going to miss something. You might miss family, food, language, culture. And the program here is so conducive to building relationships and working amongst yourselves and working collaboratively as opposed to competitively. So I think anyone coming here should keep in mind that if you're just going to come here to viciously compete, that might not be the best strategy.
Right.
It's better to take the opportunity to learn from your peers because we're all coming from such different places.
So collaboration over competition.
So just to be open to the idea, even if you don't feel ready to jump in fully.
Right, makes sense. Can you tell us something about the student life? Like, do you go out or do you have like a community?
Really, that's something that, again, I'm a very introverted person, but even I get a lot of opportunities to go out. So we have an astronomy club, and they do events like they have the Christmas party, they have a New Year's party, where it's in a space like the observatory, where there's chances to be, again, really close to the interaction, the social bit, but also the chance to get away, explore more of the orchards and the apple trees and the cherry trees and all of that stuff. And there's movie nights where we're able to kind of get together and watch something that's been influential in science. Or
have you watched the PhD movie?
I have not.
You should. I cried.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I will watch it. That sounds really good. There's just a lot of chances to get to know other people, each other, and now in the PhD program and by extension to students in the masters as well, there's a pub credence where they're going weekly. So if you want, you can just pop in for 10-15 minutes, say hi to everybody. It's a really good environment for getting to know the people, the culture, and feeling more like you're a part of it.
Mentioning culture, what's your favorite food here? Like Polish food.
Ooh, a classic pierogi.
Pierogi.
Yes.
Everyone says pierogi.
Really good. I mean, it's one of the things that you expect to have. And it's good because everyone has made it in different ways. You have different like thicknesses of dough, different fillings, very versatile food. Yeah.
So with that, thanks Naqsh for being here with us today, and goodbye.
Goodbye.